we're speaking about Scrum and stuff. So we spoke about sprint, I believe, and then we ended there. So we have daily stand-ups, and here is where we actually get the inputs from all the people from our teams, asking them about what they did yesterday and what they are going to do today. So it is a 15-minute meeting. It should happen each day, which would give the people the perspective about what they are trying to do, what they did. So it is meeting about 15 minutes is what is expected. Usually it gets extended because of too many doubts asked by the people around so essentially it is better that we limit that meeting to 15 minutes and usually Scrum Master is the guy who will be taking care of it. There is a box. Okay. So is it better now? Can you hear it more clearly now? Okay. Yeah. So what you essentially do there is you'll understand what your teammates did for yesterday and what you will be doing today. That is what you will do in your Scrum. So when you are speaking about Scrum, you also have one more meeting which is called as retrospective meeting. What is a retrospective meeting? Essentially, you will be once your entire sprint is done, what you will be doing is you will be going ahead and retrospective. That is on the final day of the sprint. If your sprint is 3 weeks, on the final day of the week, what you will do, we will all get together in a room and then understand what are the things which went well. So in the retrospective, you'll be having 4 sections. Let me just, if at all I can get some something from the on-site online images. This is what you will do inside a retrospective meeting. So you will go ahead and discuss about in a current sprint with which you worked on what was good. So all that was good will be highlighted. If you have some 10 people in your team or 5 people in your team, all of them will get together in a room and they will discuss this at the end of the sprint. Like if there was a sprint which was spawning from 6th to 24th. If it is a 3-week sprint, then on 24th everyone will get together and they will have a retrospective meeting. Most of the Scrum teams will have it. They will discuss about what went well in this current sprint from 6th to 24th and what did not go well. Essentially, there were some requirements which were not clear and we had to get back to the PO again and again. These kinds of issues. So, too many meetings. You can see that it's a very good point. So, too many meetings will not be helpful because you need some time for coding and testing bugs and stuff. So, too many meetings will actually hamper the progress. So, that is what this team is saying. Then it is saying that there were a few security bugs. Security bugs essentially are the bugs which are hampering the security of your application. So there were too many security bugs is what this team is saying. Let us think that this is an actual team which is speaking about an actual problem. So didn't get to do all the visualizations. So essentially there are some visualizations which they wanted to build, and they were unable to get all the visualizations which they wanted to build in that current sprint. This is how your what did not go well or what went bad will look like. So essentially, all of the things which your team feels or bad things which happened in the sprint, you will take those points. Ideas will be, can there be any inputs wherein I will improve the process? How can I improve the process, or what else can be done in my team? All of that would be present in the ideas section. This again your team has to come up with, because your team is the one who is working on the application. They have to come up with what are the ideas that they can produce. So here this team is saying we need to create new mockups, service and support improvements. So your support team has to improve its performance, the support team of your production. So our production teams usually have the support, right? So essentially, it what this section speaks about. It speaks about what are the ideas which you can integrate within your process. Actions. Actions is something like you keep on recording what is bad each sprint. Did you do any actions to actually address these bad things which are happening in your Scrum? That is what you will highlight here inside your actions. So here this team is saying fixing the bugs, which is one plan of action which we have to do. Prioritizing the tasks. So your tasks, your user stories, tasks, feature, we'll see all that. So your prioritization, and then the number of meetings down. What was the problem? Too many meetings was even there in the last sprint. That is why there is an action. So this action would be on the Scrum Master. So Scrum Master has to take care of having less meetings. Agile teams usually tend to have too many meetings. And because of too many meetings, the developers will end up spending more time in creating the bugs, in creating the code, and writing code after the office hours, just because there were too many meetings during the office hours. All of this is these are to be regulated by your Scrum Master. So that is what would be in the actions. Usually your retrospective meeting will have these sections. So people will discuss on all these points, and this will be stick notes. You would be having a physical board. You would not have something like this. You would be having a physical board wherein they will discuss this and they will stick the notes of what is good, what is bad, and stuff. Once everything is stuck, then the Scrum Master will note these things down and send it across to the entire team, including PO, including product owner. Why? Because product owner also pulls too many people into the meeting. So that is one of the things which even product owner has to know, that there are a few things which the team is facing, and he also needs to know. Product owner essentially is your client. So he also needs to know what is happening in the team, and this is the way we will let him know. That is your retrospective. This is one of the very important meetings in your Scrum process, wherein you'll understand what's right and what's wrong inside your team. So Scrum is like poker. So that's one of the good statements. So Scrum is like poker. You can learn the rules in 10 minutes, but it takes a long time to get great at it. So essentially, rules are very less. You just need to have a daily Scrum, you need to have a sprint, you need to have a retrospective. The rules are very straightforward. But to implement it, you will take even 1 year or 2 years to get a healthy Scrum team. And there is attrition. People keep leaving companies. So once the person who was adjusted to a certain Scrum process has left and a new person comes in, again he will take time to adjust and learn the Scrum and adjust to the current team which is already existing. So all of these things are they're very straightforward to understand, and it looks good when we actually look at what are all the processes which are in place. It looks good, but implementing it and getting great at it, it will take time. So that's the process. That's the problem with having a Scrum. Essentially, it is very straightforward, but teams take time to understand Scrum and to adapt Scrum. So, who are the people who are involved in Scrum? You can look at the official Scrum guide. Let me just open that. So this is a guy who have written Scrum guide. So you can just look at what Scrum is and what are the processes within Scrum. So what is what in Scrum guide? So essentially, let me just ping this. There's one thing which you can refer to. Whatever we have spoken about is all present inside this. I just ping that on the ping. Just pick that up. So this is one of the guides which we can look at whenever we want to understand Scrum. It defines what Scrum is. It's lightweight, simple to understand and difficult to master, essentially, as we just spoke. It's easy to understand and difficult to implement because there are a few things which teams take time. What is the theory behind Scrum? There is a definition for that. So there are a lot of things which are present in Scrum, which are defined in this Scrum guide. These are the people who are the official masters of Scrum. They have defined the Scrum guide. So it has transparency. Whenever we are speaking about Scrum, it has transparency. A common language referring to the process must be shared by all the participants. So essentially, all your participants, all your teammates should have a common language which they speak. That is essentially sprint, your sprint goal, what are the tasks and what are the user stories which needs to be done. All of these are languages. So you need to have a common language which your teammates speak when they actually start implementing Scrum. That is what it is explaining inside transparency. If you just keep reading these things, it is pretty straightforward of what is the expectation. So what do you do inside Scrum? As I said, there would be sprint planning meeting. We'll speak about sprint planning meeting. We'll come to that. There would be daily Scrum. We spoke about daily stand-up. There would be a sprint review and sprint retrospective. These both are the same things. We'll have a review and retrospective. Essentially, retrospective, we just spoke about it. This is retrospective board. So your retrospective board, that is what he is saying. So whatever are the Scrum things, all of that are present in Scrum guide. What are the values of Scrum? What is the Scrum team? Who is the PO? What are his responsibilities? These are his responsibilities of what a PO should do. So if you just look at a few things, we just spoke about these things. He should be writing the backlog. We spoke about writing the backlog, right? He went to the board and created a couple of backlog items, and I said that PO would be working on it. So you can clearly see here where he expresses the backlog items. That's what is one of his responsibilities. Ordering the items of the backlog to best achieve goals and missions. So all of that are your PO's responsibilities. He needs to actually go ahead and satisfy all these things. Then about the development team. What should be the development team's responsibility within a Scrum process? It is also clearly defined. What should it be? We spoke about a few things. We spoke about cross-functional. cross-functional. We spoke about self-organizing. These are the things which I have highlighted in my initial slide. So we spoke about self-organizing. We spoke about cross-functional. Scrum recognizes no titles and regardless of the domain. So essentially, it is all speaking about what are your dev team's responsibilities. What are the roles and responsibilities inside a Scrum process? You can just go through that. I believe with your experience, it would be straightforward to understand. Pretty cleanly defined responsibilities. What should be your team size? So it should not be, it should enough to remain nimble and large enough to complete a significant work within a sprint. So it should not be too small or too big. That is what it is saying. So what is the Scrum Master? What are his responsibilities? All of these are Scrum Master's responsibilities. He is the one who is responsible to do work along with product owner. And what should he do with product owner? All this list of things. These are the expectations of the Scrum Master with the product owner. What should he do with the development team? These are his responsibilities. Like, just speak about a couple of things instead of just going through each line. I'll just go through a couple of things. So he should be coaching the development team so that they can be self-organized and they can be cross-functional. So he should be the coach. Scrum Master is essentially the coach of your team. Essentially, just like your cricket coach, he is the coach of your team. Coach doesn't actually go ahead and get the work done. He will motivate the people to get the work done. That is what is his responsibility. He is not the one who is working, but he is the one who is the force behind the entire team. That is what is Scrum Master's responsibility. He should be helping the development team create high-value products. Essentially, that is another of his responsibilities. Removing impediments. That's one of the key things which he needs to do. What is the impediment? Whenever a development team has a problem, like I can just stress on this a little bit because that's something very important which the Scrum Master has. My team has a dependency on Team 2. So essentially, Team 2 needs to give me a component and I need to build on top of this component. I have a dependency on Team 2 then. Unless and until they build this component, I can't start my work in my team. I cannot do any work in my team. What is the Scrum Master's responsibility? To push Team 2, which he is not the Scrum Master. Team 2 will be having their own Scrum Master. They will be having their own Scrum Master. So my team's Scrum Master would be going and pushing their team's Scrum Master so that they will complete the component which I want. Because unless and until this component is built, I cannot start working in my team. That is one of the impediment. So there is a blocker. And usually, I as a developer in my development team, I will not go to the other team. It is the Scrum Master's responsibility. I will just go and tell to the Scrum Master that I am having a particular impediment. Then the Scrum Master will go ahead and work for me, and he will go ahead and remove the impediment. It is his responsibility. These are the things which Scrum Master does for your development team. There are many things, as you are saying, facilitating Scrum. He needs to facilitate the Scrum process, coaching the development team in organizational environments. So, as I said, he is the coach. All of these are his responsibilities in a Scrum team. If you just look at what are his services for organization, there are many. Instead of going to all the lines, you can just have a read of it and understand it. If you have any doubts, you can get back to me. So, Scrum events, we can just take that, and sprint. There are a few things which you need to take care of whenever you are running a sprint. No changes are made that would endanger the sprint goal. So there is a sprint goal. What is the sprint goal? You would be having a sprint goal saying, I'll get 4 user stories done. Suddenly, in the middle of the sprint, your PO says, I want one more story to be included. If I include this story in the middle of the sprint, I already have 4 stories which my team is working on. Then there would be a discussion between the PO and the Scrum Master, either to take out one of the stories which is already there and give me this story, or use or have this story in the next sprint. So the sprint goal is 4 user stories. What Scrum Master would say, take 1 user story or and then allow me to carry on. Otherwise, you just need to wait until we start the next sprint. So these are the decisions which you need to take, because you cannot endanger a sprint. These are usual discussions which happen because we keep on getting changes to our requirements, and usually these kinds of discussions are very common, and your sprint goal should not be hampered. So this is all Scrum Master's responsibility again. He needs to take care of it. And the quality goals do not decrease. Essentially, your quality should not be impacted when you are delivering something. The quality should be maintained. Scope may be clarified or renegotiated between product owner and the development team as more is learned. So essentially, what does that line mean? If you have discovered that we will deliver 4 user stories, among these 4, there is 1 user story which will take 30 days. What is my sprint? It is 15 days sprint. It is 3 weeks sprint. So if at all I have a 3 week sprint and I understand that one of the user stories is 30 days, I will be discussing with the PO saying that this cannot be completed within this sprint, as we discussed earlier. Because we discussed that we will be delivering 4 user stories, we will get back to the PO and say that one of the user stories is pretty heavy and we would require 2 sprints. That is 30 days is 2 sprints, right? So I require 2 sprints of time to deliver that user story. These negotiations are very common, and what this point is saying, it should be clarified and renegotiated with the PO and the development team so that everyone is on the same page. That is what that line means. So you can just have a read on what that is. It's pretty straightforward. Understanding what a sprint is and what are the goals of the sprint. Cancelling a sprint, if at all you are planning to cancel a sprint, there are a set of things which you need to do. I did not go through all that. You can just have a read of it and then get back to me if at all you are having any doubts. It's pretty clean guide which will give you all the inputs. So sprint planning, how do you plan the sprint? So what can be delivered in the increment resulting from the upcoming sprint? So essentially, what should be delivered? What should be your deliverables in a sprint? How will you work on the needed deliverables? All of that would be discussed in your sprint planning meeting. This is what we will come to. Sprint planning, how does that happen? We'll come to that. We'll look at it and we'll actually go ahead and write an epic and then write a user story, then a task for the user story, and we'll see what will happen inside the sprint planning meeting. So, topic 1, what should be done in the sprint, how will the chosen work get done, all of that are things which you do in the sprint planning meeting. And the sprint goal, you will be having a goal for your sprint. Daily Scrum. What should happen in a daily Scrum? The ideal time, as we discussed, it should be time boxed for 15 minutes because usually they go beyond 15 minutes. So time box it and then only start working on it. There is a standard practice. So all what we have discussed to most of the extent should be present here. Whatever you see here. Sprint review. Sprint review, most of the teams will not have it. The review meeting. They will be having a retrospective meeting, not a sprint review meeting. They will be having a retrospective. There is a review and retrospective. This is what is retrospective, what we just discussed. That is what it will be having. The purpose of retrospective, inspect how last sprint went, identify major items that went well, that is what is good, and the potential improvements which we can do. So where will be the improvements going? Again in the ideas. This is where your improvements will go. So inside your ideas, this is how we can improve the process. So whatever you see here can put in one of the boxes of your retrospective meeting. That is what we will discuss in the retrospective. Essentially, what went well, what did not go well, and stuff like that. Scrum artifacts, product backlog. We saw that. What is a product backlog? We created a backlog and how the PO would work on it. This gives you more detail on what PO's product backlog is and what it should have, what it should not have. All of that is given here inside the Scrum guide. And you have sprint backlog. One is your product backlog. One is your product backlog. One is your sprint backlog. What is product backlog? The thing which we created.